If you've ever wondered why there are so many bad archetypes in Yu-Gi-Oh!, you're not alone. Awful archetypes such as Gen X's may baffle some players since they seem so blatantly awful. But despite what you may think, there are some reasons for them. But for the purposes of this video, I'm going to focus on one particular reason since there are a few, and I think there's one particularly interesting reason why this phenomena happens. But before I start, feel free to like, comment, and share this video, and feel free to check out my other content, and feel free to subscribe if you really like my content. But without any further ado, let's get into it. So what am I talking about? Like I said, there's a sort of reason why Konami makes bad archetypes, like Gen X's or Tindangles, and it can be summarized down to a matter of keeping the game balanced. Think about it. Not all cards are created equal, but what if they were? What if there were no cards that were bad? Well, it would mean that more decks would be more viable, and we can assume all of the other meta decks will still pretty much be the same in terms of strength. So this means that these would-be bad decks would be more viable against the meta. And that may sound like a good thing in the short run, since rogue decks could have a sort of a win streak, but there's an underlying problem. Although it may be good in the short run, it means that cards and future archetypes in the next set will have to be stronger, since they have to give players a reason to play them over the older cards. And it would mean that the power creep would have to increase to much higher levels. And think about it, if there were a bunch of bad archetypes in the previous set, the future set would not have to have such a notable increase in power in order to outpace and eventually replace the previous set, which means that we wouldn't really feel the massive increase in power creep going into the future. And because of it, not every deck can be a winner, since it would cause this power creep spike. And ironically, bad cards and archetypes actually manage the power creep present within the game. They are essentially bringing a sort of balance to Yu-Gi-Oh! And this is a reality that the player often overlooks, and it's something that Konami is very well aware of in TCG, since any TCG naturally has power creep, and it needs to be actively accounted for so that the game doesn't spiral out of control. Yes, it means that you can't viably play something like Summon Skull or a Gen X deck, but it means that the game can live on. But I guess you could also say that Konami prints bad cards or archetypes so that they can put more emphasis on other cards. But the power creep issue is probably the main reason behind this phenomena. That, and I can imagine it being really difficult and unrealistic to consistently make every archetype a good archetype over the years. There's bound to be some point where they mess up and they just come up with a bad idea. And I can imagine the marketing is a lot more easy when there are other bad cards in the set to incentivize players to buy the better cards in that same set. And there's less competition between these cards in a sense. But yeah, that basically puts my thoughts into perspective, and it's an interesting little topic that I often think goes unnoticed. But like I said, there are many reasons why Konami prints these so-called bad cards, and let me know which other reasons Konami may have for printing these bad archetypes. But with that pretty much wraps it up for this video. If you would like to support more content like this, you can do so via donation on my Cash App. I need to resolve some issues with my Patreon, but I still post on there, and you can still catch my content on that same page. But for the meantime, you can help me out on Cash App by finding me at the Necromancer1040 Cash App tag. And with that, thank you so much for watching, thank you so much for your support, and I'll catch you in the next video. Alright, take care.